All right, guys, so here it is. So finally got some free time to change out the brake pressure switch. It's been going out intermittently, and I'm not saying this is the cause of it, because it's a known issue, or I say known issue, excuse me, it's an issue that I've seen on numerous machines. Sorry, low power mode. Numerous machines pop up. I went to the dealership, well, not dealership, but went to one of the I guess it is a dealership. I think it was Haney's. I can't remember. It's in, dang man, mine's slipping. It's in Rockmart. JR helped me out. He was gonna try to find me one. He didn't have one in stock. Again, I'm in Georgia. I've got a Turbo S, 2020 Turbo S. So I put a part on my machine a while ago, and I love that part. I still love that part. Hey, Sadie. And I'm wondering if this part caused a premature failure. Now, I've got just right at 1,000 miles on my machine. That's when I put 1,000 miles in the machine in a year, and it's done great for me. I have no complaints. It's, you know, I've got to upgrade things because I want to run bigger tires. I want to do this. I want to do that. So, and y'all see, I upgrade this thing all the time. And I say all the time, I buy the parts that work for me and what I do for my rig. That being said, this is a brake pressure switch. That's all this is. You can bypass these. You can actually, and I saw a guy named A1UTV. I think it was a month ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember when it was. One of my buddies tagged me in one of his videos, and him and another guy came up with, literally, you do a switch and you can bypass this. You do not have to have you got to have it in your machine or your brake fluid will squirt out, because the banjos and everything for the brake lines go right there. Go right there. So you got to have it in the machine, but you do not have to have the sensor hooked up. Now the problem with that, you won't have brake lights. I like brake lights. Just my personal thing. If you don't care, and the group you ride with is really careful and really pays attention, it's not a big deal, because you can see when somebody's slowing down. You really can. But I like to have brake lights. That's just my thing. So I'm replacing this part. I got to the part. It actually wasn't screwed in as tight as I want, because I took a pair of not channel locks, but like adjustable pliers. Sadie, come here. So, come here. Nah, she's good. And after about like one twist, the part actually came loose. And I'm wondering if it wasn't in there seated correctly from the get-go. I don't know. I know it's got brake fluid coming out of where the electrical connection is. So that tells me there's a seal inside here that's probably the brake fluid maybe ate it up. I don't know. But here's the other issue that that popped in my head when I have a spring brake thingy. I love it, but it puts a lot of pressure. I guess the plunger that activates the plunger from the brake. If I'm saying it correctly, like I said, I'm no mechanic. I just try to figure these things out. I wonder if it puts too much pressure and puts so much pressure for over a long, because I've had it on. I'll put it on when I press it down on my machine. I've gone 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7, 8 hours, depending on where I'm going to ride, pressed. I'm wondering if that pressure actually does something to the seal inside this, which made this mess up prematurely. I'm not saying that product does that. I am not saying that. I will never say that unless it's proven. I don't know. But I got this part. So I'm going to test that out. I'm going to keep using it. If this part goes out again within a couple hundred miles, what's understood does not need to be explained. But I'm going to check it out. I'm going to see what happens. But it's accessible, but getting a wrench up there, I think it takes like a 19 or 20 millimeter or 19 or 20, whatever, wrench to get up in there. Because I've got 18. I've got an 18, and it won't even go on this. So it's a big boy wrench. Well, a lot of guys that I've talked to said they get whatever wrench it is that goes right here, and they'll heat it up, bend it to where you can actually, it'll make a curve to it to where you can actually get it on there, because there's not a lot of space right there. You can get to your fingers, you can get to the plug with your fingers. So that's what I'm doing. The other thing, like I said, you don't have to have this switch. What you can do jumper wires, or what I did is electrical connector from if you're doing wires and you want to put your wire on hot, the little connector. I cut the end of it, cut a splice in the end of it, and made 2 little prongs. And anytime this didn't work on the machine, I just did that, and that crunk it up. But like I said, I didn't have brake lights, and they were working intermittently, because I asked a couple buddies I was riding with, I said, man, my brake lights come. They're like, yeah, every so often they'll hit, so that means the pressure switch is bad. Gonna replace it. I'm gonna see if I can show y'all without me having to turn this damn thing around. This right here, I hope y'all can see that, is the brake. See, I already got it loose. I had probably one drip come off this thing. So pull this out, make sure your washers all go back in the right way. There's a washer here, I think there's a washer here, and I think there's a washer here. I think they're crush washers from what I know of my brake stuff. I don't know much, but I know a little. I could be wrong, but just don't crucify me on all that stuff. Pull this out, gonna put it back in, tighten it up, and see how she acts. But like I said, there's multiple fixes, and there's also a fix to where you can bypass the entire thing in your fuse box, and you can create another switch off the fuse box. You have to find that part. You have to find that. There's a couple videos out there. I don't know the names of guys, but I'm gonna give this a try. Brake pressure switch. Hang on, guys. All right, so that is a pressure. I don't know if I got a good look at it last time. We don't need this in there anymore. That's your brake pressure switch. I'm gonna try and do this one hand. There's a washer. First washer. Just notice the washer, it's got a seal on it. Pay attention how this stuff comes off. I'm gonna try to take it off exactly the way it comes off. I'm trying to do this dang one hand. Sadie, come here. And this one, sorry, there. And this one slips out. There we go. So I got brake fluid on my hand. Don't get it on your powder coat. It'll eat it. It's pretty corrosive from what I know. So there's that one. There's this one. Don't know if there's really any difference. One's got a yellow dot, one's got a blue dot. Sorry, cough. But there they are. I'm just gonna switch everything around. Okay, hopefully that was pretty good. Like I said, it's a tight fit. I don't have huge hands, but they're pretty sausagey, you know what I'm saying? Got it in. What I'm also gonna do, since the connector had brake fluid on it, I don't want corrosion on the actual connector. I'm gonna clean the actual connector with this, spray it, this won't hurt anything. Spray it, I'm gonna let it dry off, I'm gonna wipe it off, let it dry off, then just plug it up. This old one, what I'm actually gonna do, I'm actually gonna keep it, because if somebody's switch does go out that I know in the woods, because it happened to me intermittently. It actually got harder and harder to crank the machine. When I said that, I didn't notice it, but I was like, man, why is it, the machine cranks so much faster? It's not cranking as fast. All my fluids are good. Everything's good with that. It's just, this was going out. I guess the connection wasn't hitting hard enough. I don't know, but it was going out, because that's my problem. Got Gotta check my brake lights here in a little bit, make sure everything's good. But I don't really see too much of an issue with this. I think there might be whatever's inside here. Like I said, maybe it's too much pressure from something else. I don't know. I'm gonna test it out, and that's the only way to know. I praise that part because I love that part, but if it's causing this issue, there might be something else I need to do with that part to manipulate it to where there's enough pressure to lock the brakes, but not lock them hard enough to ruin this. Unless this is just so super sensitive, then maybe there's a prior model that fits on these machines, on the new 2020s or 2021s, that you wouldn't have that issue with. Because I had 800, I had no issues with this pressure switch, but it is also a different pressure switch. Boom. So, figure it out. But yeah, clean this guy up, put it in the toolbox. You never know, man. Like, you never know. But there it is. I'm doing one more little tiny video with this one for the pressure switch. I'm gonna see if my brake lights work, which they should. But I'm gonna clean it out real quick, and that should be the end of it. But if you don't have, so this is what my symptoms went to crank the razor, lights on the dash, everything came on, everything. I can't see my brake lights because I was in my garage, had the doors open, so I can't tell if they're on or not. Would not crank. Cool, maybe a dead battery. You never know. Maybe something had a small draw on it. I don't know. Machine was sat for like 2 weeks, maybe a week, and it did this. So, whatever. Traced a bunch of stuff. Even looked at the fuse box, looked at all the fuses. Everything was fine. Heard the solenoid clicking on the. There's a little fuse. It's not it's a fuse, but it's a solenoid fuse. I guess that's what it's called in the actual fuse box for your brake pressure switch. And I think that's where you can bypass it. You do whatever right there. Felt it clicking. Swapped it out with other fuses that were the same exact thing, and it worked. Girlfriend or wife comes out. Say girlfriend. Wife comes out and she says, "Heath, are you hitting the brakes?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "You don't have any brake lights." Popped right in my head. There's something with the brake pressure switch. Because I did have something, I had a solenoid go out on my 800 that caused that, but it was a solenoid. So it was like, I think it's called starter solenoid or whatever it was. You could jump it, but you couldn't turn the key. It was something similar, but it's kind of similar, it was kind of not. But so that's when I did a little bit of research and found that these are a common issue on the 2020s. And JR, I think it's Haney's, JR over at Haney's. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. Talking with him, he said he has replaced a ton of these. So watch out, guys. If this goes out, like I said, you can still get home. You can still ride. You can ride as much as you want. But if you keep it wire jumped, from what the research I did, a lot of guys said they melted brake lens. Now, if you want to melt your brake lens, that's fine. I don't want to do that. That's why I took it off. Once it started, I took it off. I just have to re-jump it every single time, or it intermittently, like this one did, to get it to start and crank. It's just a little pain in the butt. And it's literally not hard. It literally took me 15 minutes to change this thing out, and that's me doing these videos for y'all guys and for me, and just talking about it and looking at it and just looking at pieces and parts and stuff like that. But keep the soul guy. All right, one last little video here in just a second.